Hicks Law in Web Design by Susan Reynolds for EME 6207. Hicks Law is a popular reference point for designers. According to Gross in 2012, though, many people use it incorrectly. Traditionally, Hicks Law has been focused solely on a narrow portion of web design, that which is primarily concerned with drop-down or fly-out menus. What is Hicks Law? Hicks Law, or the Hick-Hyman Law, named after British and American psychologists William Hick and Ray Hyman, describes the time it takes for a person to make a decision as a result of the possible choices he or she has. In other words, increasing the number of choices will increase the decision time logarithmically. Do you suffer from FOBO, which is fear of better options?
I used to feel anxious and confused about buying a major appliance. Turns out she suffered from FOBO until I found H.H. Gregg.
Cure FOBO with an unmatched selection of appliances, low price guarantee, and free delivery at H.H. Gregg.
An example of Hicks Law in action is a psychology test that was done at a local supermarket involving jam. In one display, they had set up 24 very attractively arranged jars of jam. Consumers could come by, they could sample them, they could buy them, questions were answered. They did the same thing with 6 jars of jam. Again, attractively arranged, free samples to take, questions to be answered. But the interesting result was that the one with 24 options, the people who passed it, only 3% of them bought the jam. But on the other hand, the display with 6 jars, even though they had fewer people passing that display because it was smaller, they had almost 40% of the people who did stop buying, or did stop to buy some. So more options, there was fewer dollars spent. Fewer options, more money or revenue was spent. So how exactly does this apply to web design? How can we use it to fine-tune user experiences? Hicks Law states that the more stimuli or choices users face, the longer it will take them to make a decision. This is proportional to the cost-benefit principle. The more options a user has to pick from, be it navigation, products, or images to look at, the more energy it takes to make a decision. An example on your screen, which decision or what have your eyes focused in on almost immediately? When it comes to buying, the energy required to make a decision sometimes can be so large that the benefit doesn't seem worthwhile. Barry Schwartz describes an example of this in a TED Talk he gave on his book, The Paradox of Choice.
Other things may have lots of attractive features, and it's going to make what you're doing less attractive. Third, escalation of expectations. This hit me when I went to replace my jeans. I wear jeans almost all the time, and there was a time when jeans came in one flavor, and you bought them, and they fit like crap, and they were incredibly uncomfortable, and if you wore them long enough and washed them enough times, they started to feel okay. So I went to replace my jeans after years and years of wearing these old ones, and I said, I want a pair of jeans, here's my size, and the shopkeeper said, do you want slim fit, easy fit, relaxed fit? You want button fly or zipper fly? You want stone washed or acid washed? Do you want them distressed? Do you want boot cut? Do you want tapered? Blah, 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 on and on. He went, my jaw dropped, and after I recovered, I said, I want the kind that used to be the only kind. He had no idea what that was. So I spent an hour trying on all these damn jeans, and I walked out of the store, truth, with the best fitting jeans I had ever had. I did better. All this choice made it possible for me to do better. But I felt worse. Why? I wrote a whole book to try to explain this to myself. The reason is, the reason I felt worse is that with all of these options available, my expectations about how good a pair of jeans should be went up. I had I had no particular expectations when they only came in one flavor. When they came in 100 flavors, damn it, one of them should have been perfect. And what I got was good, but it wasn't perfect.
For designers of all types, this presents a challenge, making it imperative to offer the most useful set of options to avoid frustrating or disappointing the user. An early example of Hicks Law in design action is with the U.S. Navy. They were quick to recognize the importance of keeping it simple when they realized that their fighter pilots were having problems or were getting confused and making more mistakes from an old design of cockpit to a lesser, more streamlined design. There were fewer things to pay attention to, and safety and accuracy skyrocketed. Designers need to remember to use Hicks Law in conjunction with other design principles, not as an isolated rule limited only to menus. By offering clear paths, we can reduce navigation time, ease user experience, and reduce drop-offs. In looking at this example here, while yes, the user or we are deciding on a type of font, there is much more going on here. Style, size, design, graphic background of it, heavy, thin, light, slanted. There's a lot to take in when choosing something as simple as a letter. Never take visitors for granted. Treat the time that individuals spend on a website as a premium. And we as designers want those individuals to use their time wisely. One way to make time used wisely is to reduce overall choice into manageable chunks. For example, clothing sites regularly split male-female with a further breakdown of categories underneath. This is just an example from Nordstrom's online, and if I go up to women, it breaks it down into clothing and then special areas. And even further going into that with coats and jackets will take me directly to that particular area. And then from there, it's further broken down by price, style, material, collar, different features that I would want. So each category is further broken down, and I don't feel quite so overwhelmed as first, like with all the choices and options. Another option of Hicks Law would be the effective use of filter and search options. An example here is Screencast-O-Matic, which I've recently been introduced to. I am totally enamored with this site because it's very straightforward. Start recording, look at recordings, download and install. Tutorials are very clearly marked, and if you break down the tutorials, they will take you further into what exactly do you want to know. I don't have to search, I don't have to hunt, I don't have to dig up basic information such as where do I log in. Final thoughts include that no matter what the web design is being used for, be it for selling, be it for educating, be it for informing, that we want people to spend time on the website. It wasn't just a hobby, or at least for some of us, to create this website. And if people don't stay and use it, then what's the point? And if we have to spend more time digging and hunting and just feeling frustrated and confused, personally, and I'm someone who does get easily overwhelmed by too much information or too many choices, I would rather just log off and go spend time with my puppy. References for this presentation include an article by Jay Gross, Redefining Hicks Law, Universal Principles of Design by Lidwell, Holden, and Butler, and an article called Hicks Law, Making the Choice Easier for Users by M. Sogart. There were 2 video clips. One was H.H. Gregg, Phobo, from last Christmas, 2016, and The Paradox of Choice with Barry Schwartz on TED Talks.